Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, May 28th, 2020, and you're watching WGAN TV Live at 5. Our show today, Show and Tour Property Websites and Digital Asset Delivery by Show and Tour. Our guest today, hey Josh, good to see you.
Hey Dan, good to be here.
Is Kansas City-based Josh Mays. Josh is the owner of Sherpa Media and Show and Tour. So if you're seeking property websites for your Matterport or other 3D or 360 tour, are you wondering how best to deliver your digital assets? Do you need to display more than one Matterport digital twin in the same tour, in the same player? If so, you're in the right place. Today's show. Josh, before we jump in, how about just telling us maybe a big picture about Sherpa Media and Show and Tour?
Yeah, awesome. So as you said, I'm based in Kansas City. I've been a professional photographer, videographer, and virtual tour provider full-time for the last 5-6+ years. And so I'm very familiar with the industry and, everything that goes along with virtual tours and photography. And as I've developed as a business owner, I've seen a number of challenges come up. So one of the big things that I've seen is the increased competition in our space. I'm seeing new photographers pop up every day. The barrier to entry is getting lower and lower. Not only do we have to compete against other photographers locally, but we're also competing against national companies. And now we're actually competing against camera manufacturers. So competition is just increasing. On top of that, we have, new technology is always getting better and easier. So with that, again, the barrier to entry is a little easier as things progress. And so with these external forces, we have to find ways to increase our value and basically find new ways to increase, to provide a better client experience. So with those desires, I've developed Show and Tour. Me and my teammate, Brian, he's the developer on the back end. He's awesome, really skilled. He's the one, typing away every day, making Show and Tour what it is. But we've been in development for the last year and a half, launched in November. So we're a new company. And so that's what started it. That's the desire, basically, to add more value, equip our clients, and create a better client experience for our customers.
Terrific. So what does that look like? What does Show and Tour look like at the big picture before we jump into a demo?
So with Show and Tour, there's a number of things that you can create. And so it basically, we have tools to help you save time, tools to help you equip your clients. And so that includes property websites. We have an awesome drag and drop property website builder. We have really professional looking project delivery pages that allow you to give your clients a full view of the project in a very professional way. It's going to look better than just a Dropbox link where they have to figure out where the download button is. We make it super easy, super professional. On those project delivery pages, you can include a payment button that just pops open a box where they can input their credit card. That page also allows you to lock downloads, links, and embed codes until your client's paid you. So another time-saving thing to help you, you should get paid on time. In addition, we let you create what we call media players. The media player is basically a way for you to combine multiple forms of media into a single player that can be embedded on any page. So you hinted at it at the beginning. You can combine multiple Matterport tours together. There's lots of different use cases for that. You can combine, a photo gallery, a video, and Matterport. So it just gives the photographer more freedom on how they display their content and equip their clients. We also let you connect your own domain names. So we don't lock you into purchasing domain names from us. we allow you to purchase domain names wherever you want, and then add those to your content. So you can basically, brand everything to your business. Our whole system is meant to be photographer first. So the photographer is always number one priority on how, their branding is displayed. Our system is completely white labeled to that photographer, to your branding. So you don't have to see any show and tour branding at all. And we're taking that to the next level, and we're finding ways to continue to let the photographer brand themselves over even the virtual tour providers, the virtual tour platforms. And that's something I'll show you later and give you more detail on that. With everything we curate, everything is, you can password protect it, along with there's automatic SSL certificates, so everything's secure and password protected. Also gives you freedom to create basically however you want. So a lot of systems charge you based on per project, but our system is built to give you freedom to build as many projects as you need. So you can build as many property websites, media players, delivery pages as you want. And we'll get into pricing and exactly kind of how that works later in the show.
Awesome. I've been keeping track, or I've been attempting to keep track as you talked about each of the different features that Show and Tour offers. I'm sort of between 10 and 12, depending on how you count. So I would say Show and Tour is a Swiss Army knife solution, a cloud-based software solution to help your target audience would be real estate photographers, in particular real estate virtual tour photographers, and if you're doing video, even better. So maybe those three things.
Yeah, we're fully focused on this industry. So everything is meant to be for real estate photographers, videographers, and virtual tour providers.
Awesome. I think that probably leads us into to doing a deep dive demo. And I'm going to actually ask you for 3 kinds of demos. First is to take a look at Show and Tour from the perspective of someone buying or selling a home. What is that experience like? Yep. 2, what is it like from the real estate agent or real estate broker's perspective? And 3, what is the back-end experience like from the photographer's perspective? How about share screen, jump in and take it from there?
Absolutely. Can you see my screen okay?
I can, thank you.
So yeah, we're gonna start with the experience from a home buyer's perspective. So I'm just on a realtor.com listing. This is a shoot that I personally did a couple weeks ago. With these listing websites, there's limited media that you can display on them. Realtor.com does a good, they do a good thing where you can actually see the Matterport virtual tours with the 3D view button. But they also display a VR tour button, which is nice. And so that's the MLS virtual tour link. You can equip your real estate agent with a link to put in here. And basically that'll take us to a property website that we've made with Show and Tour. So the benefit of the property website is it allows you to, fully customize the experience, input any type of media. Maybe that's a video, multiple virtual tours, a couple different photo galleries, different text. It basically just gives you way more freedom than what you would find on, a standard real estate listing. So with this example, we've a typical property website would, show the property info. We've got the virtual tour.
Excuse me, Josh went a little bit fast for me. And
okay.
I think it's a limitation of our technology of how we do this. So it's not as silky smooth as perhaps the consumer would experience. Since you're sharing this with me tied into the web, it's a little bit harder. So I'm just trying to go down to kind of in between this page and the next page, and I'm getting to see some highlights of info. Can you just scroll down, just see if it might go a little bit slower right there? Boom. Yep. Okay. So if you could pick it up from here, that's great.
Yeah. So basically, the property website, it acts as an online brochure that is fully customizable to all the content you create for your client. It's just more customizable than a typical real estate listing. So we've got the property info section. And I will note that this is the unbranded version. This is the MLS version without the agent information. I can show you the version that has agent branding on it. We've got property info, quick facts, a description, field that you can upload any PDF. So this was improvements made to the home, a spreadsheet that the agent wanted us to upload. Below that, we've got the virtual tour. And you'll also notice at the top, as we scroll, we've got a quick menu. You can see it starts at the bottom, and then as you scroll, it goes to the top. So this is a Matterport tour, displayed nicely on the page. As we continue to scroll, we'll see our nice photo gallery. It displays vertical images really nicely in a mosaic style. All the images can be clicked on full screen. Another nice benefit is providing these property websites is that the photos are going to be displayed at a much higher resolution than what you would find on MLS. So make sure your agent is presenting the best there. We've got a contact form and a map section. At the bottom of every property website, we do have the photographer's branding. This is, again, one of those things that photographer always comes first. The photographer is going to have their branding and link to the website. That's another really great benefit of property websites and providing these virtual tour links is you want to be associated with your project. Because not only are home buyers looking at this, seeing if they're interested in the home, but we've also got other agents looking at this and they're going to see your work. They want to know who produced this content. So that helps you get clicks to your website.
Josh, was your logo for Sherpa Media, was that a hyperlink back to your website?
Yes, it was. So if we click on that, that'll jump over to Sherpa Media.
Okay, great, thank you.
And
so would this be an appropriate time to show us the branded version of what the home buyer or home seller would see if they were looking at it not in the MLS, but an agent sent it directly to a home buyer or home seller?
Yeah. So it's basically, the format's going to be the same. All it's going to do is add back in the agent branding. And so with the branded tour, agents can use these as just, again, the online brochure, the best way to share that listing with potential buyers. My agents share these on social media. They show really nicely on social media as a link. They share them on the sign writer in the front yard. So we've got a nice short link that they can just put at the top of the sign. Again, online brochure. People don't have to get up and get a piece of paper. They can just type it in their phone as they, park in front. And then they can easily share these over email. So it's really just a really awesome way to equip your client. Another point that recently got brought up by one of our users is that this helps agents potentially grab those buyers so they can get both sides of the commission. And so not only, a lot of agents might just push their stuff on MLS and hope, other agents bring the buyer. This can help them showcase the listing on their own outside of the MLS and try to get the buyers themselves and double their commission.
Mm-hmm. Can you take us back to the agent's info? So there's a lot going on there in terms of customization. So we have the agent's photo, a big print for their name, a subtitle, phone number. In this example, you have hyperlinks for email, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and web. Plus you have the logo. I'm guessing that logo is also hyperlinked.
This logo is not.
It's not. Okay. So there's the link for the web. Okay, great.
Yeah, so that agent information is all you can input, and it gets synced to all the different websites.
Okay, we'll get there. Let's stay on just the consumer-facing side of what a home buyer or home seller would see. Can you take us down to the bottom? I just wanted to see if there was anything that was different about that lead generation form.
Yep. So we got the agent information.
Have it
That's what we
repeated
call
here.
the contact card. And so, yeah, it's basically displaying those contact cards. You can add multiple agents. So if you have 2 or 3, it's functional with that as well.
So we might see multiple contact cards appear here and above as well.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, great. And then below is a map.
Yep.
And then in terms of the great. Okay, great. In terms of the URL, can you talk to us a little bit about that right there?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one is an example for my business. I have it set up with a custom domain name, kc.tours. And so all of our property websites are built on kc.tours. And then our system just adds the address at the end. But you can make this, and we'll get into that on the back end.
I'm sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. So is there anything else to show us on the consumer facing side, the person who buys a house, the person who's buying a house or selling a house?
That's it on the property website. I could show you what a media player looks like from the consumer side. We'll get into that.
That would be great. I know Show and Tour has some special features regarding its player, and so that would be good. Why don't you talk about what page we're on even before we get to this, so that if somebody wanted to come back and look at this, you maybe just scroll up to the top for a second.
Sure. Yeah, we're on the Show and Tour examples page, showandtour.com/example.
So if you wouldn't mind, let's just go back to your logo in the top left, click on that. And that's where we are, showandtour.com, showandtour.com. And then I think you were going to click on the examples, and in case anyone wants to follow along with us on their own website. Okay, great.
We just looked at a property website. We're going to jump down and look at a media player. And this is a real estate example. And so the media player, I described it quickly before, but it's a way to combine multiple forms of media into a single player that can be embedded on a website. So this is a live example. This is embedded on our example page. But you can use this media player as a standalone website as well. So that's why I wanted to show you this now, is if we go to this media player online, you can input this media player as the virtual tour link in MLS if you prefer. It's just another way to display your content and of course brand yourself with it as well. So we do have the link to your website in the bottom left corner. And so in this example, we've got a photo gallery that you can just click through. We've got a video. I won't play that. It'll start blaring some music. And then we've got a virtual tour. In this example, it's a Zillow virtual tour. So that's another way that a home buyer would experience the end product. And again, this media player can be shared from the agent, text, email, social media, whatever it may be.
Okay, so let's pause here just for a second, Josh, because this is super important. Show and Tour player works with Matterport, Zillow, 3D Home. What else?
It works with everything. So basically anything you can embed, you can input as a tab in the player.
Isn't that awesome? So regardless of the 3D or 360 virtual tour platform a photographer is using, Show and Tour is platform agnostic, meaning it will work with any 3D 360 virtual tour platform, as well as video such as YouTube, Vimeo.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all about freedom and giving the photographer the ability to basically do whatever they want. I know I'm all for that. So that's what we're trying to provide to our users.
Okay. So does you're a real estate photographer, you're a virtual tour creator. So this is Show and Tour is a platform created with the vision, by the vision of a real estate, the DNA of a real estate photographer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Another,
Awesome. Now,
yeah, go ahead.
go on. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say another big value, I don't think I mentioned it, is as service providers, if we're trying to sell multiple services to a client, we need to give them a platform to actually display that content. So it actually helps you sell your services. So I learned early on that when I was trying to offer agents photography, video, virtual tour all in a single listing, they'd be like, where do I put this? What do I do with it? And so that eliminates that question by providing a media player or a property website. It allows you to, just equip them like they should be to display everything. I just wanted to mention that.
Awesome. Now, if you go back to your examples page, I
Yep.
seem to recall that we saw 2 examples there, and
right.
the other player was different. So what's different about this example of show and tour?
Yeah, so this media player is 3 different Matterport virtual tours combined into a single player. This specific example was for an Airbnb that had multiple rooms in the same house that they rented out. And so they wanted individual Matterport tours for each room, but they also wanted a way to show them all so people can click through each room. So we've got, the different rooms here. We've got the West Side room, the Crestwood room, and then a Valentine room. And so again, there's really a lot of freedom that you have when combining things. It's simple. We've just got tabs. I'll show you on the back end how easy it is to build
And then
this.
again, on the left side, it says created by Sherpa Media. Again, that is a hyperlink.
Yep.
And so you, as a photographer, you have a choice of putting your photography business there or your agent's info there.
Right now, it just displays the photography business.
Okay.
Yep. So it's got a created by link, gives you the credit for your work.
Okay, great. Thank heaven somebody is actually giving the photographer credit for our work. What a concept. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Now, I notice you have 2 different share links. Can you describe what on that particular player, could you describe those 2 different share links?
Well, what this is, that's the Matterport specific share button. So that's, this is the actual Matterport tour. And then we've got a share link for the whole player. So this is what I went to before to show you that, that full screen version. But that's why you're seeing two share links there.
Okay, great. Now I also noticed there's a caption and a headline. Is that part of this? Is Oak Street Mansion part of the player, or was that added as part of your website?
So you're talking about the link here?
No. If we go just underneath your player.
Oh, right here.
Just
That
for
is
clarification, is that part of the player, or is that added on your website?
That's just added on the website. So the player itself is just the box here.
Okay, great. Now, if I was not delivering a 3D or 360 virtual tour, 24/7 open house, could that be a video?
Absolutely. Yep. You can. You don't even have to display multiple things. So it could be a single piece of content. So maybe you just simply want to use it as a container for your content and to add a link to your website and a share button. That's another use.
Okay, great. So is there, is part of our 3-phase demo here, is there anything else to show from a someone who's planning to buy a house or sell a house perspective?
That's pretty much it. Those are the end products where the end user would experience.
Great. So Josh, how about a demo of show and tour from a real estate agent's perspective?
Yeah. So the real estate agent will get their content from the photographer in a nice professional email. I've got an example email pulled up. I'm just going to drag it onto this page. 1 second.
Josh, I see you looking almost 90 degrees there. Is your screen like a 60-inch monitor on your desktop there?
No, I just got my small laptop down there with all
Oh, okay.
stuff I don't want you to see yet.
Okay.
So basically, this is what the email would look like when you are sending a project to a client. The contents of this email can be changed and customized. We've got a nice,
Excuse me. So Josh, this is a template from the show and tour platform to generate a email to the real estate agent.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And so this is how you can professionally deliver your project to a client. And so we've got a big view project button that'll take us to the project delivery page, which I'll click on that in a minute. Then we've got additional links down here directly to the property website if you want to add those as well.
Okay.
And then of course, we've got your the photographer branding on the bottom.
Okay, so for clarification, that logo at the bottom is the photographer's logo. In this case, for show and tour, your photography business, your Matterport service provider business is Sherpa Media, and that's why we're seeing that particular photographer as an example.
Exactly. So anytime you see Sherpa Media, you can just imagine your own logo in that place. Because yeah, that's my photography business that we're using.
Okay, great. Oh, I see 3 different links. Presumably you're going to show us each of those 3 links.
Yeah, the view project button and this first link, they're the same thing.
Okay, great.
The property website is what we've actually already seen from realtor.com. So this is the same listing. So we've already seen the property website. Let's go ahead and jump into view project. So this is your client's experience when they are receiving the project. You'll notice at the top we have a secure link. This is a string of random characters. So this page is not meant to be shared publicly. It's meant to just be shared with you and your client. You can password protect this page if you're concerned about security. But by default, it's not password protected. It's just a secure link that only your client would see. Now, this is a project that I've already sent out and it's been paid. If it has not been paid and you did add payment to this page, this would show a pay now button. And I can show you an example in a bit what that looks like that hasn't been paid. But once it's been paid, it's going to show invoice paid. It's going to have a view invoice button. And I will note that this only will show paid if you are integrating with Stripe or QuickBooks. So that's a feature I haven't mentioned yet, I don't think, is that you can connect your Stripe and QuickBooks accounts. And our system will actually talk with those accounts and mark invoices as paid. You can create invoices in those systems. I'll show you how easy it is to create invoices. We decided to do that to bring invoice creation into our software to streamline your whole process. Because I found, as you're uploading photos and creating, your delivery page, your property website, there's always also the invoice to create. And so we put it in one place so you can be doing that when things are uploading. I'll show you that later. So on this delivery page, there's lots of things to look at. And again, it's fully customizable to what your project has attached to it. So all these are just sections that you can add on the back end, and you don't need to add any of these if they're not relevant. To start at the top, we have the property website. That's what we've looked at already. There is an automatic branded and unbranded link included. The unbranded is what we first looked at without the client information. And then we have a view website, visit website button that takes them to another tab and lets them view that property website. Then we've got the rest of the content. And you can arrange the order if you prefer all this in different orders. This is the Matterport example, so it allows them to preview the virtual tour, get the direct link, get the embed code. Just a really, clean way to deliver that rather than an email with, a long string of links and embed codes. Personally, I don't think that, comes across very well. It doesn't look as clean. Then we've got the photo gallery. Now with photos, from the photographer point of view, you just got to upload the highest resolution photos that you want to deliver to your client. And then our system will automatically downscale those images to different web sizes. And so the default web size, the default download size is the 2048 pixels wide. but you can click this drop down and download the full resolution or the smaller web size. If your client wants to, they can select on the individual images, click through the photo gallery. We do have a, let me move our, I don't know how to move our look, there we go. They do have a individual image download button here as well, if they just want to download a single image. And then what I did here, this is actually just a thing my client likes. But this is an example where you can have multiple photo galleries. So this is just a second photo gallery section. My client likes me to deliver vertical images as a combined horizontal image. So I just created a second photo gallery to give them those combined vertical images. But you can use, in other words, you can have as many photo galleries as you want. I've also used a second photo gallery to deliver social media cropped images. So I like to sometimes provide my clients with square crops that they can just throw on Instagram. So there's a lot of flexibility on how you deliver your content. We do have an invoice paid button up here on the top right. That, obviously is showing invoice paid because this invoice has been paid, but if it hasn't, it'll have a pay now button. And then once you click that, your client will be able to pay right on screen. And then of course, we do have the photographer logo and link to the website in the top left. So this delivery page, just like everything else, works with any content.
So how about a video? I didn't see video.
This example doesn't. Let me just exit out of these.
So I would imagine when you're delivering the video, you're delivering either the Vimeo link or the YouTube link.
Exactly. So let's go here. So this is an example delivery page let's see, that has not been paid. I created an invoice right before this. This is just an example. But basically, if they have not paid for the project, we've got this pay now button. And it pops up and they can enter their credit card.
Can you fill that out so we can see how that works?
Yep.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just kidding. I was going to ask you for all your credit card numbers.
None of those will show anything. It's fine.
Okay. A little levity. How about viewing the invoice? Can we take a look at that?
Yeah, that's just going to download the actual PDF, and I'm not going to open that up.
Okay.
It'll show some of my business information.
Okay, that's fine.
So that's going to download the actual PDF from QuickBooks or from Stripe. It's pulling the real invoice there. And then I will say on the Pay Now button, if you click Show Details, that drops down and shows all the line items in that invoice. And I'll show you how to create invoices on the back end.
Okay, great. So at the moment, we'll stay focused from the real estate agent's perspective, and we'll cover the how-to from a photographer's in a whole separate demo that you'll get to.
Yep.
Okay.
And so this is an example of a video. It's going to display the same exact way as a virtual tour with link and embed code, and then you can preview the video right on the page.
And this, if you wanted to deliver segments of videos, it's just multiple videos that get delivered.
Yep, all these are just sections, and you can add as many sections as you want.
Okay, great. Is there, so if let's talk a little bit about the payment integration here. Can I get all my digital assets, whether I pay or not pay?
Yes, I can lock this project real fast. Let me do it. And I'm doing this on the back end, and we'll go over the back end in a second, but I'll just do this off screen for now. I'm going to go ahead and lock. Refresh the page. Well, it might take a minute. It's probably cached, but
yeah, okay. So how'd that work?
Let's see. Let's make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Well, this one doesn't want to work, but basically I'll create a new project and I'll show you. It'll basically lock all downloads. Oh, here it goes. It is locked. I just didn't realize. Basically, it gives you prompts to pay in order to download. So it's going to pop up the pay now box.
So I can see everything. I could click on each of the photos. I just can't download them.
That's right. The virtual tour is going to load in the background. You can't interact with it. It's going to have a lock, and you pay to view, just like that.
Okay, so I can't even play the videos, etc. Everything's as soon pay to view. So as soon as I, as the real estate agent, pay the bill, then I can see the tour, then I can see the photos, then I can download and get links.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So
if any of our viewers have ever had a problem sending an invoice to a client and chasing after them forever and a day, that the photographer may choose to say, oh, for client A, I'm going to require them to pay at the time that they get delivery. And for my other clients that I know that they pay in a timely fashion, I'm not going to lock down my digital assets. They'll be able to download it, and they'll pay the bill when they normally pay the bill. So I have a choice as a photographer.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, great. Is there anything else to see from the real estate agent's perspective?
That's pretty much it. That's what they would experience from the email to the project, where they can get downloads and links and everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and where am I? I'm having trouble finding you on my screen. So how about if you could take us off screen share just for a moment?
Okay.
And I've lost you on my desktop. I have so much stuff open. Literally, I don't know where my Zoom screen went. I'm not much of a television producer here, I guess. You can, I presume you can see me okay, yeah?
I can see you.
Literally, I have so much open, I can't see. Okay, well, as long as you know that we're on full screen now, I'm gonna have you make sure that we're doing the right thing. So, because I've actually lost my window.
Okay.
Let's see what I wanted to ask you. Okay, so we've seen everything from the agent's perspective of digital assets. I guess, is there a dashboard for an agent?
There's not a dashboard. We keep it really simple to where they just get a link and download everything from that email.
Okay, got it. So how about from the perspective of the photographer?
Okay. Well, let me pull it up.
Okay, and I found my Zoom window so I can actually see you now.
Okay.
I'm feeling better.
Okay. Let me make sure this is all ready to go.
Okay. So we're going to take a look at show and tour from the perspective of the real estate photographer, virtual tour photographer, of how everything that we just have seen for branded, unbranded tour, how it's all delivered. Now we're on the back end for, in this case, Sherpa Media.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, great.
And so this is what the dashboard looks like. This is obviously my personal example, or a personal dashboard filled out with projects and clients. When you're on the dashboard, we've got multiple things to show you here. This top row, these 6 projects, these are going to be your 6 most recent projects. So it's kind of a quick access bar. The projects you've modified the latest. We've got your new project and new client button. We'll actually create a project from scratch in a minute. And then below that is your list of clients and projects. There's a couple different layouts you can arrange them in. We've got the grid layout, and then we've also got a list layout. So this just displays everything in alphabetical order in 2 different columns. The last way to navigate to get to a project or client is the search bar. So you can just start typing and click on the project that way. So several different ways to navigate all the hundreds of projects you might have in your dashboard. We've also got, let me move this. We've also got some settings in the top right. We'll go over that towards the end, I think. We've got some profile settings. Help will take you to our help articles. Then you can sign out. You can upload your logo. That's going to show on the dashboard here. And you'll also notice this dashboard is on my own domain name. So you can put it on your own domain if you'd like to just fully, brand it to yourself. Pretty much you're the only one that's going to see it, but it's always nice to, put everything on your own domain name. So with that said, I'll probably start by jumping in a project that we've been looking at, and then we'll create a project from scratch. So let's go to the example that we've looked at a couple times. This is the project specific dashboard. You'll notice the three things we've been looking at: a property website, deliverables or delivery page, and the media player. Each one of these has the builder on the right-hand side, and then you have some settings on the left. For all three, they're built the same way. Your project also has some additional project settings, and then your send project button. So I'll go ahead and dive into some of these specific things that you can do. When you're starting on a project, you typically want to start on the deliverables page. So at minimum, you're probably using us to send your project, and then you may or may not build out a property website or a media player. So when you're on your deliverables page, all you got to do is add the sections that you need. And so for this example, we've already added sections. We've got a photo gallery, we've got a Zillow virtual tour, and we've got a video. But if you needed to add these sections, you basically are just clicking this plus button, and then you add the type of section that you need. So if we want to add a second photo gallery, we would just click photo gallery, and then you can drag images up here, up into this box. You can also upload panoramas. And so this would display as a 360 panorama. I'm going to delete that photo gallery for now. At any time as you're building, you can click on this preview button in the top right corner. That preview button is going to take you to the live example that you can see. You can see how all the content is displayed. And so this is what we just viewed. I just edited this project to lock the downloads. And so that's going to show you that live view. If you're on preview, you can jump between tabs. So we can jump over to the property website or the media player from this view as well. Close that preview. And then each page, again, built the same way. We're now on the media player tab. We've already added a photo gallery, a video, and a virtual tour. You can add a maps section to the media player. Let's go ahead and do that. That maps was already created on another tab, so that's why it pulled up. But if I click preview here, we now have a map section at the bottom of the media player that's going to pull up this property. I'm going to delete that map section. You can just, each one of these sections does have different settings that you can manipulate. Some of the virtual tours that we recognize, such as a Matterport or Zillow virtual tour, some of the more common ones, we do have some advanced settings that you can mess with. So in this, for example, the Matterport, you can change the background, the preview image, and then you can check on and off the MLS version of that.
So for clarification, so with that, I think of that as the hero image. Is that so?
So that background image, it only displays for a second. Basically, when I click on the preview here, it's this image right here as it's loading.
Okay, so that might be the exterior of the house.
Yeah.
If I didn't begin the tour, you happen to be beginning the tour on the exterior of the house. But if I wanted an exterior of the house to be that preview image, this is where that would be changed.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So that's the media player. The media player is the most simple one. We've got the link to the media player if you want to quickly access that. The auto transition, that's going to jump between tabs automatically. So if you have it on a page, it shows a little bit of movement. Let's hop over to the deliverables page. Now, the deliverables in the property website pages have two sections. We've got the header and the quick links. And then the deliverables page also has a project payment section here. Now the project payment, it's going to, I've already created an invoice for this project. And so it's already here created. It shows it's due.
So was this invoice created in QuickBooks?
So this invoice was created with Show and Tour and then pushed into QuickBooks.
Okay, and is it compatible, is Show and Tour compatible with QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online?
It's compatible with QuickBooks Online and Stripe.
Okay, and QuickBooks, the non-online version.
It doesn't work with QuickBooks not desktop. It only works with QuickBooks Online.
QuickBooks Online. Okay, great.
And so you can download the invoice here. When we create a project from scratch, I'll show you how to actually create the invoice. These quick links, that's going to be your top menu bar. If you want to, you can, adjust how this top menu looks. We do have a desktop and mobile that you can separate out. So if you want desktop and mobile to look differently. And then the header, this is something you'll probably adjust every time. This is where you would choose your background image, that first, big header background image. And then you can change what that page heading says. You can change the size of that header as well. So some people, I think most people use the header, but if you don't want to, you can turn it off. And then that just jumps straight down without that top header into the first section on that page. The last tab here is the property website. Again, so the property website has different specific sections. So we've got a property info section with all the various property information that you can add. For this example, we've got Zillow. We've got a text section that shows up on the front end just like that. So if you have a little bit of text, you can display that. We've got a photo gallery and video and so on. Again, all you got to do is just add sections with that plus button and then add the type of section you need. So it's really easy. When you get used to the system, you can create a project delivery page, property website in just a few minutes. So it's super fast. There are different settings here on the left. Again, you got your password protection, you got your branded, unbranded links if you need to access those. And then we have the contact cards. So this allows you to make changes to this client information on this project only. So we do have a separate section that I haven't shown you yet for the actual client profile. That's going to, input all their information and push that out to all the different property websites. But if you want this contact card to show different information on this specific project, you can change that here. Or you can, if you have multiple clients attached to this project, you can hide one of them as well. So a use case for that is, let's say I add a second client on this project. But this second client is just for, let's say they're an admin person. And so you added them because you want them to also get this email. But you don't want that admin person to show up on the property website. All we'd have to do is just hide them on this page. So
that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's just a kind of a use case there. We again have the header section. This header section also has a header action button. And that's what, if I click on preview here, that's what this top button is. You can make it basically jump down to any section. So maybe you want it to jump down to property info first or the virtual tour. And then we have a header action text. So I just changed it. It was property info. I'm going to change it to virtual tour and we'll see it on the preview. It now says explore space. It's going to jump to the virtual tour. Mm-hmm. So you have flexibility on that top button. Same quick links, same concept. Last thing we'll show you here are the project settings. This is how you can change the project name. This project name is going to be automatically created from the property address. If you didn't input a property address, you can make the project name whatever you want. You can change the property address here as well. It's integrated with Google, so you don't have to type in the full address. Once you type it in once, it's going to autofill it. And then again, you just saw me do it. You can add more clients to a project this way. And then this is also where you can change the domain name for a project. So our system is super flexible when it comes to the domain name. You just simply type in the domain name you want. And so I'll show you how to connect domain names to the system so that they're accessible here. But right now, the default domain name is show.tours. That's available to everyone that signs up. But for my business, I've connected kc.tours. We've seen that already. So if I just type in kc.tours, it shows that it's available and gives me a green check. I can change this property website to be kc.tours/the address. If I want that extension to be something completely different, just typing in random things, I can do
So
that.
this could be, the domain name could be a selling point that the photographer makes it the real estate agent's brand.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. If you do, so you can add any domain name that you own or have access to its DNS settings. And so if you have access to that, you can connect to our system and build out property websites and projects on those domain names.
Okay, so I could imagine I probably want to keep it as a photographer, so I'm benefiting from the SEO.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm not going to save that. But that's how you would change a domain name and add a custom domain name. I'm going to show you on the example that we create from scratch how to actually add a .com. And so it'll be the address.com. And so I think that's mostly it. We've got the send project button. This is that email we looked at. You can edit what the default email looks like in your profile settings. But you can also just edit here specifically. So if you're not delivering a property website, you can just delete that out of the project.
Okay.
You can send a copy to yourself. So this is a way to, just confirm it got sent. A lot of people like that peace of mind. So you can, copy yourself there, change the email subject, and you can add email addresses to this email as well. So if you didn't have them connected to the project, but you still wanted to email it to someone else, you can either select an existing client or you can just type in that email.
Okay. Cool.
And then all you do is click send email, and that delivers that professional, clean email that we've already looked at. As you're making changes, you would just click publish changes and it saves live. I'm not going to save. I don't even remember all the different things I changed on this project, so I'm not going to save it. If you exit out, it won't save what you've done. It is going to warn you that you've exited and haven't saved, but that's okay in this example. So I think the next best thing is to create a project from scratch and show you how that works. So I'm going to create this listing that I've already done from scratch. We've got 4524 Terrace Street. It knows your location, so it's auto-filling in Google Maps. It pops in the project name, this client. You just start typing. It's going to pop them up there. And that's all you need to do to start creating a project. So we're in a project. It's the same format, just we haven't added our content. I pretty much always start with the photo gallery. I'm going to drag in my images from Adobe Bridge, and you can see those will start to upload. You can start working on other things as they upload. So I like to start creating the invoice. These invoices are actually being pulled from QuickBooks. So if you did create that invoice in QuickBooks already, you can just select it and it pulls it right in. So you don't have to create the invoice within our system. But if you did want to create an invoice from scratch, you just click create invoice and that pops up this box to start basically just typing in your line items. And so for this example, these are actually products and services from my QuickBooks account. And so you just start typing in your line items, whatever you charge. It's pretty simple. I have my services broken down between real estate and business. So it shows you the different QuickBooks categories. And if, there's those different things, you can put a description. So this would be, maybe it's you charge by image. In Matterport, maybe you charge by square feet. So it gives you some details. The invoice creation is automatically going to pull in the project name and link to the delivery page. So that's on every invoice. So you can associate that invoice with a project, and that your client, if they go to that invoice, they can get the link to all your content right from the invoice. You can change the invoice date, the terms, apply a discount, and you can just add whatever line items you want. I'm going to click done. And so this invoice won't actually get published and pushed into QuickBooks until you publish the page. And then this is also where you can decide to disable downloads before payment or not. And so while I've created that invoice, the photos have already uploaded. If you're just delivering photos, you're basically done. The last thing you might do is add the background image for the header. So it's as simple as just, selecting the image you want. A lot of times this is just the front. For this example, I liked the back of this house had a really awesome back patio. So I like that as that front image. We're going to turn on our header and click preview. So our delivery page was made in just those couple minutes. We've got our Pay Now button, and then everything else below it locked until they pay. For this example, I did also do a Matterport, so we're going to go ahead and add that. So for Matterport or video or any media that is, external, basically, you would click External Media. Let me copy over my Matterport link. You just copy that in. Press enter, press that button, and it's going to load the Matterport right in. You don't have to do anything else. Again, with Matterport, since we recognize the link, there are some cool advanced settings. This is similar to other things you might have seen where you can just easily click a button and hide some things. We are wanting to expand this customization in the future, but right now we've got some simple things you can customize. Typically,
their print might be a little bit small for our viewers to see from home. So enable quick start. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, zoomed in for you. So that's what's currently there. But typically you don't have to change much. We just added the Matterport. And if we go to preview.
Let me just ask on the Matterport. So if I wanted to add parameters to the link, you'll still accept whatever parameters have been added to control that Matterport space.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And so we built out the deliverables page. If we want to deliver a property website, we do need to add that to the delivery page. So that would be that section with the links and the visit website button. So we just add that property website. You'll see a couple features here coming soon. Basically, these features are going to allow the agent to edit the website themselves. So that will speed up the workflow for the photographer. Right now, the photographer has to input the information themselves. So if we click preview there, we just added this property website section. And since it's locked, we're not seeing it. I'm going to go ahead and unlock this page. And so, yeah, we've got the branded and unbranded links. Let's go ahead and jump over to the property website tab, build that out. We can start with the header. We've already got all the images uploaded. We don't have to re-upload anything.
I need to upload them in the order that I want.
So when you're choosing the background image, it's pulling from what we call the media library. And these are just going to show in the order that they uploaded to our system. But in the actual photo gallery section, you can rearrange them in whatever order you want. You can, do it by upload date. You can do it by file name, whatever you want. You can, rearrange individual images. You can select multiple images and rearrange that way. Personally, I rename all the images first and put them in the order I want, so I don't really have to mess with them on the site. But so back to the property website, we've got our header. I'm going to go ahead and add our different sections. So since we've already uploaded photos in a Matterport tour, they're going to show up in our existing media. So we don't have to re-upload or change anything. I just added the photo gallery. There's a couple different options I don't think I've shown yet. We've got a slideshow and a grid layout. The grid layout is that mosaic style grid. The slideshow is going to be that full screen version of the photos, if you prefer that style. I'll add the Matterport link in there. let's go ahead and just add all the different sections: property info, map, contact form. That's pretty much the basics.
Can I great. So you're rearranging the order now. Okay.
Exactly. So you just drag on the left side, whatever order you want. I usually do it property info first, then either Matterport or photo gallery, contact form, in the map. Now that we've added sections, we can choose the header action button. So, you know, view property info or view property photos, turn on that header. Now the property info, this is what we're going to add to where the agent can add in their own information. But for now, I'm just going to copy it over from realtor.com for this example. So we have something to see. There are other parameters that you can add. So we do have a full list of quick facts that you can include. So I think this one did give a lot square footage. So we'll go ahead and do that. And this is where you can add documents as well. So there we go. We've got our property info section. I'm going to change that photo gallery back because I personally like the grid layout. And boom, we've got a property website. Here's the Matterport contact form and Google Maps. And then, of course, photographer at the bottom. The media player, this one will be the quickest. Since we've got everything already uploaded, we just click photo gallery, Matterport, and that media player was just made. So we've got the two different tabs, photos and virtual tour.
A little bit fast for me. If I wanted to add a third Matterport tour, second Matterport tour, and a third Matterport tour.
All you got to do is add a new section, then click external media and copy in the Matterport link. So I can, let's go to this client and grab another one.
And what's the total number of tours I can include?
I don't think there's a limit. It's not going to look good past a certain number of tabs.
So really 3 or 4.
Yeah, I wouldn't go past that. It'll start looking full.
Okay.
And so I just added a second Matterport. This is a different property, so it doesn't quite make sense. But there you go. You can do that if you want.
So the player can have video, photos, virtual tour,
Google Map. We've got all
a tab. I'm trying to visualize. Maybe if we go back to your, just for a moment, is go back to your examples page, showandtour.com, the examples page. And then maybe if we go down to the player that's there.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where so there's West Side Room, Crestwood Room, Valentine Room. So that's where we were talking about maybe 3 or 4 could fit nicely. So in this example, those 3 tabs are Matterport tours, but one could be Matterport, another tab could be the video, and another tab could be Google Maps.
Yep, exactly.
Or I can conceivably add a 4th tab that might be Google Maps, or photos. So I might have photo, video, Google Maps, tour, all as tabs within one player.
Exactly. Now, if you do add a bunch of tabs, this does become scrollable. So yeah, you can add as much as you want. I suggest 3 or 4 is optimal, but we give you the freedom to test it out.
Okay, cool.
So I do want to show you how to add a custom domain name.
And I would like to see agents too, how you create an agent.
Absolutely, I can do that. Let me start with the custom domain name.
Okay.
So if you click on the project settings, this is where we looked at before. You can just type in whatever you want if you just want to change the extension. But I actually just purchased this domain name from Namecheap. So in the backend DNS settings, all you got to do is add a CNAME record.
Oh, it went a little bit fast for me. How did I get to this screen?
This is Namecheap. So I purchased the
Okay, got
domain
it.
name.
Fine. I
Went
might
to
be in
the beginning.
GoDaddy or whatever, wherever
Yeah,
I want to get my domain. You happen to
right.
be in
I did,
namecheap.com. Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to show you the back end of how you might add a CNAME record and what the settings look like. We do have a help article that gives you the exact settings. But basically, right before this video, I purchased this domain name. I changed the CNAME to point to our hosting. And
So
then
your
once,
the hosting for show and tour, the default setting, you talked about this earlier, is show.tours.
mhm,
I
yeah.
see a period there. I'm not sure I understand that.
Well, this is just the value to change the DNS settings for a specific domain name to point to our system so that you can add a custom domain name to your project. So
Okay, so
if
it's
you,
always going to be the CNAME.
well, so and again, we have a help article. This part is a little technical, but we have a
Yep.
help article that steps you through it to tell you what settings you need to add to the back end of your domain name.
Okay, maybe we can have you back and we'll just do a focus on C names and A records and how to do those settings. That might be a
Sure.
good topic if you're up for it, Josh.
Okay. So I've added the CNAME. I'm going to go to this domain name real fast. And so if I go to 4524terrace.com, just in it, since this is a brand new domain name that I just connected, it's just going to show this screen. It shows that it has not been registered yet. But that does tell me that this domain name has been correctly, that CNAME has been correctly added. So now that I'm in my project, I can actually just add that domain name in this field. It tells me it requires setup. This is where you can read our help article and add those settings here if you need. I'm just going to click complete domain setup. And on the back end here, it's doing all the necessary things to actually put this project on this domain name. Save those changes. So now we actually have this whole project on 4524terrace.com. We've got the player, the deliverables page, and the property website right here.
That's pretty awesome. Do you mind going back to cheapnames.com? I'm just curious to see where that 4.5 where you were changing the CNAME.
Yeah. So with every registrar is going to be different on how you access the
Yeah,
DNS.
I happen to use GoDaddy. I'm just curious on namecheap.com where you did the appropriate change
Yep.
to point to show.tours.
Yeah, so we're just in the advanced DNS tab after you click on a domain name, and then you would add a CNAME record. It's as simple as just clicking add new record, CNAME, and then typing in the information you need.
Can you
And then
type it in? I don't see where you've typed it. You typed it in.
That's what this
hosting.show.tours. And it accepted that, and you're done.
Exactly.
It was that actually, it's that fast.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so if you can exit here, that's great. You showed us how to do a custom property website URL. Was there anything else on that? Oh, I see password protection. That's interesting. Talk about that for talk about show and tour password protection, please.
So you can password protect any one of these pages. Basically, actually the media player, we don't have password protected. But you can password protect a property website or delivery page. Basically, you just enable that. It's going to generate a random password. You can change this to be whatever you want. But with that being password protected, I'll go ahead and publish this, jump over to this website. Hopefully it loads.
What were you thinking of the examples of where password password protection would be helpful, useful, or requested by?
So I actually have a client that recently requested password protection because they have a virtual tour that they only want specific clients to have access to. So it's a private, basically allows you to make anything private. There's not a ton of times that I've personally used password protection, but there's also situations where you have a home that's being listed but not on MLS, and so that agent actually wants that listing to just be private, and to certain people, because maybe that home has.
Got it. It's a pocket listing. It's a
Yeah.
$5 million home and the helicopter in the backyard, and
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not meant to be shown to everybody, just for a select few.
Yep. So there's a couple of use cases
Okay.
right there.
Okay, I'd like to see that house with the helicopter, please.
I haven't done one of those yet.
Other use cases?
For the password protection?
Yeah.
There's probably a lot. Just anytime someone wants to have something private, and they don't want it publicly available.
Okay. So how about, I took you off screen share. How about taking us back to screen share, showing us how to create an agent?
Yep.
I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So when creating a new client, all you got to do is click New Client. We can create you. Hopefully I spelled your name right there.
Yes.
Okay, I'll create Dan as a client. And so when you create that client, this is the screen that allows you to just.
All right. Well, let's do it a little bit. Phone number 404.
Okay.
303.
Okay.
7311.
All right.
Email is Dan Smigrod at WeGetAroundNetwork.com. WeGetAroundNetwork.com. Website is www.ganforum.com. WGANforum.com. Okay, great.
So those are the basics there. I just saved them, but you can also, you can add all your social media, and then branding stuff too. So maybe this is WGAN forum, obviously this can be whatever. These two settings are things that are going to be coming in the future. And then this is where you can upload a profile picture and your company logo.
Okay, that works today. The branding color is a coming soon feature, and client bio, is that the same?
Yeah, those are both things that are coming soon,
Okay.
where they will be implemented.
I don't see anywhere that this can be saved.
I clicked up here. I click Save Changes.
Oh, you saved changes already. Okay, great. Yeah. So now that's all it is to create a client, and then while you're creating the deliverable, you're just selecting the client associated with that particular project.
A project here now under Dan's.
Boom, right there. Okay, great. There was some, I think in the top right, some settings you wanted to show us.
Yeah. Let me quickly show you though a client that already has projects in there. So I'll just click on my first client here. So when you do have projects under a client, they will show up to the right. Now the last thing up here are your profile settings. This is where you add your company information, your different logos. So we allow you to upload a logo for a light background or a dark background. And then we've got your email template.
Excuse me, I'm confused. Okay. So the logo, that just happens to be your nomenclature. You have so many things in there. Sherpa Media logo, long, no, BG, gray text, 2000 PX hyphen long, 2019 version .png. Okay, that's great. I'm all for that in terms of being super organized and know your digital assets. So I'm laughing, but I'm totally with you there, Josh. So very exciting. Glad to see how meticulous you are in your organizing of your file names. Okay, so that's so let's see. Let me see what else is on here. Branding, company name, website, bio, the email templates. So so you could be adding. There's just one template. Is that
correct? Yeah. This allows you to edit that default template that pops up.
Got it.
This allows you to input different attributes such as client name here, project link here.
Did I follow this correctly? This is where you would globally change the email template, but for a specific client, you could also change the email template for that particular project.
So yes, yep. This is the global default. This is what your starting point, and then you can edit from there right before you send.
Okay, great.
This is also where you can choose your default domain name and your dashboard URL. The default domain name is going to be the domain name that every project is built on. So I've selected kc.tours. These are all the different domain names that I've added to our system. So I've got a lot, but I just have kc.tours selected. And so that basically just means every project, if I just...
Do you own stock in cheapmedia.com?
What is it?
Do you own stock in cheapmedia.com? You're sending them a lot of business.
Oh, Namecheap? Yeah, I wish. So if I just create a quick project here, you'll see that it automatically gets created on kc.tours. So that's what that, that setting does.
Okay, cool.
And so and then the dashboard URL, same thing. That's how I add the admin.sharpenmedia.co. We've got, that's our branding tab. We've got an account tab. This is where you can, change a couple of settings, your email, password, your name, language, currency.
Go back, if you would, go back to currency for a moment. Do you have other currencies?
We do. We have a lot. So we have more currencies than we do languages that we support. So
okay,
basically anything you need is in there.
okay. So for Canadian, Canadian dollar, euros.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically just going to change the symbol that shows up wherever there's a currency symbol.
Yes. Okay.
This integrations tab is where you would connect your QuickBooks or Stripe account. So you can see I've already added my own QuickBooks account.
Yeah, I love this, Josh. Congratulations. I'm sure that was a lot of work to get the integration of Stripe and QuickBooks. So, we should take a moment, celebrate your developer there, because what you've just made is something super easy, super fast, super simple to be able to either create the invoice in Show and Tell, or to pull an invoice from QuickBooks to have it go one way or the other way. And it took you about 2 seconds to demo that particular feature. And so it was so easy for you to demo. I think we kind of lose that, oh my gosh, I used to have to create that individual invoice in a separate solution. And then, well, thank heavens QuickBooks came around, then be able to put it in QuickBooks.
Yeah.
But the two systems didn't tie together. So you literally have, as you're creating the project and billing it out, it's now seamlessly passing to billing, which ties back to your, badly said, but ties back to here's your pay button. So, and your magic is Stripe in QuickBooks. If for any of our viewers that are not familiar with Stripe or for QuickBooks, these are two really super tools. Ask your questions in the We Get Around Network forum about Stripe or about QuickBooks. There'll be a ton of members be happy to answer your questions on either of those. We Get Around Network happens to use both Stripe and QuickBooks Online. Okay, that's we really should celebrate that is something that probably took you all a long time to do.
Yeah, integration. Definitely one of our biggest achievements, I would say. Brian, my teammate, he did an awesome job.
This, I'll call it simple integration. I know that there's probably months of work that took to get this, but this simple integration, is one of those powerful features of Show and Tour. Is not only, it's part of this whole Swiss Army knife thing that we were talking about at the top of the show, which is the ability to deliver the digital assets and get paid for the digital assets, and to have the invoice show that it's been paid or it hasn't been paid, or whether you're releasing the assets to this particular client or not releasing it. It's this integration is just super, super important. So anyway, congratulations on that.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we are going to add more integrations in the future. So we know not everyone uses these systems, but I think it's a good start. The last tab is our subscription settings. This is where you can change your subscription plan, manage your payment method, and it shows you the storage that you've used. So you can see I've used about 50 gigabytes. I've got a lot of projects on here. And I'll discuss the pricing and storage and how that works.
Yeah, before we talk about show and tour pricing, were there any other features that you wanted to show us?
Yes. So we have a brand new feature that's not live yet. It's in beta. We want to push it out really soon. But this is something we're really excited about for virtual tour providers.
Okay, I've taken you off screen share. Maybe you can go back into the screen share.
Let me get it set up real fast.
Okay.
On the back end here. So just give me 1 minute.
Okay, what you're about to show us, has this been shown anywhere else before?
It is not.
Okay, world premiere, WGAN TV live at 5.
That's right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So pretty soon we're going to introduce the concept of skins. And so we've got websites, we've got the player, and now we're going to have skins. So the skin is going to let you customize the look and feel of an individual virtual tour, brand it to your own business, and put it on your own domain name. So, we see the Matterport, for example, the Matterport Play, when it's embedded on a website, we see it, it says powered by Matterport. I think that should say created by you, your photography company, with a link to your website. And so that's what we've done. I'm going to go ahead and, for this example, just create a new project. Put it under you this time. So to implement this new feature, it's going to show just like external media. That's going to pop up. Let me copy in our Matterport link again. Copy it in just like we've been doing. And now we have a brand new skin that is fully customizable. And so this is similar to what it would show with a Matterport virtual tour. But now it says your company at the bottom. This is a link to your website. And then we've got different settings that you can just quickly change. This is, again, in beta, so not everything's working yet, and there's some tweaks to finalize. Cool. But we're really excited to get this out. Basically,
so this is the front page before we then get into, we still see the Matterport branding in the bottom right corner, but at least the front page static image, if that's what's being seen on the page, is the photographer's branding, not Matterport's branding.
Exactly. And so this allows you, let me just click next here. You're going to be able to capture statistics and then change it to your own domain name. So this Matterport link, again, the other exciting part is password protecting an individual tour. If I click done, this tour, now on the deliverables page, well, I actually have to publish it first for it to show up. So this tour is actually now hosted on my own domain name. So I no longer need to deliver a Matterport link. I can deliver a casey.tours link to the Matterport tour. And so this is what would actually show up on the client's website, embedded on their page. We've got the embed code, we've got the direct link, and then the Explore 3D space.
Right, so we need to do some clarification on all these URLs. So if we go back for a moment to maybe it's an examples page, can you take us back? Can you leave this page up and switch tabs? Go back to show and tour, show and tour, and go back to the examples page, and we're going to go into one of the players.
Okay.
Into one of the players, And so here's where I'm confused. So if we were sharing this particular tour using the show and tour share link in the bottom right within the black bar, that's going to be the photographer's URLs. In this case, you as the photographer, kc.tours/name of the tour. Let's close that for a second. If I use the Matterport link to share within the tour itself, now that's going to be a My Matterport link. So now help me understand what's about to change regarding that second link, the My Matterport link.
Let me show you an existing delivery page. Well, this one's locked. Let me go back. This one has a Matterport on it. So with the existing delivery page, when you're delivering this tour to a client, it's going to be the Matterport link. This is that individual tour.
That's what's going to change. So now what's in development by show and tour is to be able to deliver the Matterport tour with
your own domain name, customized with your own branding. So basically, instead of saying powered by Matterport, it's going to say by your company with a link to your website. And then, on your own domain name. So, and then this domain name, we're going to make it to where you can make it whatever you want, just like everything else in our system. So it's just another way to brand yourself with your content, get links to your website.
So Josh, if we use that media URL, the first one, the custom branded name, and we were to launch that particular tour, is that possible? Are you able to show us that?
Yep. Let's go like this. So here we are.
Yeah, so just for clarification, in the top left corner, there's that customization. But if you go play the tour right now, in the bottom right corner is still the Matterport link in the bottom right of this particular tour. So if we go to the bottom right, not of your player, but of Matterport, and we click on that to share, that's still going to be the My Matterport. So you're still totally compliant with Matterport terms and conditions, etc. But at least when the tour gets, and incidentally, obviously in that bottom right, you could turn, if I would turn off sharing right there so that the My Matterport link can't be shared, but that the show and tour player can be shared. And when the show and tour player's shared, it's actually the photographer's custom domain.
Yes, absolutely. So you have
I get that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You have full control over how the tour gets displayed. You can make it whatever you want, just like you can, customize a Matterport however you need. But just, it's really powerful to be able to deliver your own branded links and display that on clients' websites that, show your branding.
Okay. And how is this going to help me with SEO as well?
Absolutely. Because it has that link to your website. It's going to, so any website that displays this is going to be linking to your website.
So let me just do a little clarification there. So if you happen to be a Matterport service provider, and let's say over the course of a year, you've done 100 tours, and each of those 100 tours gets 500 views, 500 times 100 is 50,000 page views. That 50,000 page views counts in organic search, pointing back to your domain rather than pointing to Matterport's domain, the my.matterport domain. So this is really super important in terms of, you can pay to move yourself up in search, a lot of money, or totally included with what's coming with show and tour is this using your domain. It's not hosting. I don't want to be misleading here. It's not, you're not hosting the Matterport tour, but it is your own URL that's pointing to the Matterport tour. And by accomplishing that, you get this benefit of organic SEO. In that example of 100 tours, 500 page views, 50,000 page views is all counting towards your organic search to move you up in search.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it just gives you control over how you display your content. So just more control to the photographer.
Yes, which is another. So when somebody, wants to go, oh, K.C tours, well, let me see what that company is. Okay, that's going to take me to the photographer's website. It's not going to take me, oh, that's Matterport. It's not going to take me to Matterport's website. It's going to take me to the photographer's website.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. What else you got coming in development that you can talk about?
That's the big one. We've got more coming. That's what I want to share today is this new, we're calling it the skin. It allows you to skin any video or virtual tour and brand it to your own business. There's a lot of things in the back end to make this work. And then the cool part is, again, we're going to be able to continue to change the back end settings that allow you to customize that tour with the click of a button. So you're not messing with attributes. I've showed you some of that with our current system. This new system will continue to take that to another level. You can change your SEO title and description. This is just the start of just more things that are going to be able to give you greater control over your content.
Mm-hmm. And you got a couple more buttons off to the left there, rocket ship.
Yeah, so that rocket ship's that last tab. So we've got the first tab where you inputted your link. Then we got some settings. And then this is the publish tab where you can choose your URL. You can choose to use the Matterport link if you wanted to. And then this allows you to password protect that individual tour as well. So that's a cool function.
Awesome. Before we talk about pricing, anything else you got coming you want to talk about?
We've got the agent editing that's coming really soon. Integrations with more systems is coming soon. And then you just got to sign up for a free account or a paid account and you'll stay updated.
Take us to pricing. Let's go to your pricing page. Share your screen. Take us to showandtour.com. Let's then click on the link pricing so everybody knows how we got there.
Yep.
So
sharing now. So I'm back on showandtour.com. You just got to click pricing. It's going to scroll down to the bottom. And so these are our 3 plans. If you sign up, you start on the free plan. Our system is based on storage. And I mentioned it before, we give you freedom to create whatever you want within that capacity. So the free plan includes 1 gigabyte of storage. And on average, our users are creating about 5 projects on there for free. Once you upgrade to the Plus plan, which now has 10 gigabytes of storage, which is equivalent to about 50 projects. You can also then connect your own domain names, connect with Stripe and QuickBooks, and implement the pay to download feature. And then that
So I'm confused. If I want to connect my own domain names from day one and connect to Stripe and QuickBooks and to have this pay to download, I can skip free, go immediately to the plus. I can skip the starter plan that's free, go straight to the Plus plan that's $19 a month and have the full feature set.
Absolutely, yep. The Plus and the Pro have the same feature sets. The difference is in storage. And so that Pro plan, that's made for that, that full-time business owner that's, doing projects daily and don't want to have to worry about the back end storage limits. And so that includes a terabyte or 1,000 gigabytes. And on average, that's about 5,000 projects. So you're going to be able to use that for a while.
Okay, let's take us through each of the delivery items again of what's included, please.
Absolutely. So you have unlimited project delivery pages, unlimited property websites, unlimited media players, coming soon, unlimited skins. You can create unlimited clients. You can add your own custom logo and branding. That's the links to your website. That's that logo that's displayed, on every page. And then with the paid plans, you can connect your own domain name, any domain name you want. Multiple domain names, no limits on that either. You can connect with Stripe and QuickBooks to create invoices, sync between those systems. And then lastly, you can implement the pay to download feature so you can ensure you get paid on time.
Great. And so the full feature set is in both the Plus plan and the Pro plan. The only thing is the difference is if you're doing about 50 projects or if you're beyond 50 projects.
Yep.
Okay. Terrific. And then Josh, you've been gracious enough to offer to We Get Around Network Forum members a special offer, which is the Plus plan, the $19 a month to get the first 3 months of the Plus plan at no charge.
Yep, that's right.
So that's really awesome. Thank you. And so the question is, well, how do I get that? You need the coupon code from We Get Around Network Forum. So 2 ways to get it. First, if you happen to be watching us on one of many outlets of where our show's distributed, come to the We Get Around Network Forum, WGANforum.com, WGANforum.com. And once you're a member, just private message me at Dan Smigrod in the We Get Around Network Forum. Or if you're just signing up for the first time, and today is, again, Thursday, May 28th, 2020, simply join the We Get Around Network Forum. You'll automatically receive a welcome email from me that will include 50 plus membership benefits, as well as, or I should say, including the show and tour special offer for We Get Around Network Forum members, first 3 months free of the show and tour plus plan. And then you'll automatically get the appropriate coupon code. And again, you can get that simply by joining the We Get Around Network Forum as of today. It's already been added, or just private. If you're already a We Get Around Network Forum member, you want to get the 3 free months, just private message me, put in the subject line, show and tour, 3 free months, please, pretty please. And I'll private message you back the promo code. Very gracious of you, Josh. Thank you for making that special offer for We Get Around Network Forum members.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was one other thing I wanted to see in your demo. I missed it. There was a branding opportunity to put a logo, I want to say, in the top left corner
of
the tour.
Of a virtual tour, or the
I forget if it was the player or of the tour, but as you were going through your demo, I saw a logo, I want to say, of the real estate agent in the top left.
You might be referring to the project delivery page, which has your logo at the top left.
Okay. So I didn't see it. So there's no logo overlay either on the tour itself. It's actually on the player in the bottom left corner.
So yeah, the player has your name and link. The property website has your logo and link at the bottom. The delivery page has your logo and link at the top left. And then now the new skin will have your name and link at the bottom as well.
Oh, okay, great. Josh, we covered a lot of ground. Is there anything that we missed? Something else that?
I don't think so.
Is there a question that I should have asked that I didn't ask?
I don't think so. I think we covered it. We are ever evolving, and so there will be more changes coming. I'll keep you updated with those.
Okay, great. So can you just give us, one more, maybe a summary of the show and tours, Swiss Army knife, cloud-based software platform of the features that we just took a look at? I'm really interested if someone tuned in late and they go, oh, what was that? And just here's that top line, maybe the top 10 features of show and tour.
Okay. So show and tour, our goal is to help you save time, increase your value, and look more professional. With that, we help you equip your clients to use all the services that you created for them. Our top 10 things that add value to your business. We've got the drag and drop property website builder. We've got the professional project delivery pages. We've got custom media players. We allow you to integrate any virtual tour or video that has, that you can embed. That might count as like 100 features there. You can connect your own domain names. Any domain name, as many as you want. You can purchase it wherever you want. We've got automatic SSL security, SSL certificates, password protection. We allow you to create as much as you want. You're not charged per project. You can integrate with Stripe and QuickBooks. You can implement the pay to download, so you get paid on time. And then, you just have a system that's quick and easy to manage all your projects and clients.
Awesome. Josh, thank you so much for the deep dive demo today of Show and Tour.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, it's great.
So we've been visiting with Josh Mays. Josh is the owner, co-founder of Show and Tour, owner of Sherpa Media, based in Kansas City. We've been recording today's show, so if you missed any portion of it, we'll publish it in the We Get Around Network forum tomorrow, Friday, WGANforum.com. Josh is active in the We Get Around Network forum, so if you got any questions, feel free to just simply post them to the forum, and I imagine that Josh will chime in and give you a response. So thank you all for tuning in. On behalf of Josh in Kansas City and myself, Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network forum in Atlanta, based in Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in to WGAN TV Live at 5.